Hey therapists, it's Matt with Framework Family Counseling, and today we're gonna do the anger iceberg. That was a little too piratey. Anyway, come on, let's go check it out. So we're working on the anger iceberg today. This is a classic. If you have not come across this, I am so thrilled to be able to share it with you, because this is something I use constantly. It's an amazing tool for building insight with anger and other emotions. It's great with young kids, it's great with adolescents, it's great with adults. It's just a great example of how a powerful metaphor can really help somebody dig deeper. And so the idea is that our behaviors are an iceberg. So specifically, we'll talk anger today. Our anger is like this iceberg, and only a small portion of the iceberg shows above the surface. But if we could see below the surface, we would see that an iceberg is truly far more massive than it was showing up at the top. And so the metaphor is that the anger is what we see at the tip of this iceberg. Now, this is a lot to look at, I know, but very good resource. I pulled these off of Google. This one's from Creative Social Worker Tumblr. This one's from the Gottman Institute. This is a blank one that I guess somebody made. Thank you, that somebody. You can make your own, very easy to do, and really good to pick words based on the education level and the age of who you're working with. Get identified by their angry behaviors, the outward expression of their feeling. And that's often aggression and assaultive behaviors and fire setting, other disruption. It can be, something that follows them like a dark cloud, and they're just the bad kid now, or the bad person, or the hothead, or the mess. And it's just very degrading. And this tool is used to help people see deeper under the water into their own feeling expression, and to get a more intimate understanding of where does this feeling come from? And even though I'm labeled by different things like anger, how can I recognize, have empathy for myself for what's really happening? I mean, the honest truth is we're all constantly responding and reacting within our own situation and our own environment. And this is such a key aspect of insight building with clients that we work with. So when I use an anger iceberg, I of course want to explain the metaphor. We've gotten a little far away from Titanic at this point. That used to be a very easy connection, but for a lot of my young kids, a lot of them don't know what the Titanic is, believe it or not. So really explaining the iceberg, only the little, maybe 20% tip of it shows to those up above the water, those in the boat, the birds, and truly it is a much more massive piece of ice. And the below surface portion is what people don't see, what people are not aware of. And I love to start at the top of the iceberg by getting the client's perspective on their own anger, right? So if we have our iceberg, and you can, draw your birds in, do your thing. But we have our anger, and people around our clients see the anger. What does the anger look like? Oh, it looks like hitting. Maybe it looks like bullying. Maybe it looks like cussing. Maybe it looks like isolation. Some people react in different ways, right? So this is going to be very unique to the specific client you're working with. It never looks the same twice. And that's, I think, one of the beautiful things about therapy in general, is humans are so unique and complex. And anyway, so then you get to look deeper. And it's often helpful to have these types of resources because it's a beautiful word bank. Now, a lot of the clients that I work with often don't have the language or the emotional understanding to really be able to pick out some of these on their own. Now, with somebody that is more emotionally intelligent, they could probably pull out way more words than this, but having an appropriate word bank for the person you're working with is extremely helpful. And so the person can tell you, well, when I get angry, what's the situation? What are the triggers? Oh, well, my brothers, they bully me and they say I'm no good and they say I'm dumb. Oh, so you feel inadequate, right? You feel like a failure. Oh, I get really angry when people make assumptions about me. So you're misunderstood. And I really can't stand it when people, they don't give me the time of day. They don't offer me that trust. Oh, so you feel maybe distrustful, maybe mistrust yourself. So the idea is that you get to build this personalized iceberg for your client where they can then identify, this is the real me down here. This is what's important. And from there, you can then recognize how the client can have more self-empathy for themselves and how they can then kind of get a toe into that door before their anger explodes. That their growth of understanding of what they've been through and how that's created their experience today and every day. How that this insight can help them to gain more control over their own situation. So please, I'll post a couple of these resources. Definitely create your own, right? I mean, I can't draw, but make your little boat. This is an incredible tool. I encourage you to use it whenever possible.